This is my YouTube channel and I am Salim bin Mohammed Raffi. I bring to you the highlights of Tilkul Rasul, which is Juz 3 or Para 3 of the glorious Quran. It has two surahs. The first one is Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 253 to 286. The second one is Surah Al-Imran, where is ayat 1 to 91. Total number of ayat in this Juz of the Holy Quran are 125 ayat. Main topics Surah Al-Imran here are Tawheed, prophethood and the truth of Quran. As Surah in Baqarah discussed the issues related to Bani Israel, Surah Al-Imran discusses some issues related to the Christian community and their religious positions. It also discusses the subjects of Hajj, Jihad, Zakat and Riba. It will end like Surah Al-Baqarah with a profound dua. This para has three things mentioned in the remaining part of Surah Al-Baqarah: two major verses, tales of two prophets, and charity and usury. Two major verses here are: one major verse is Ayat al-Kursi, which is the greatest in virtue. Allah's name is mentioned in this ayat 70 times. The second one is verse is Ayat al-Madina, which is the greatest in the quantity in which trade and debt is mentioned. Story of two prophets. One of the tales is of Hazrat Ibrahim, or Prophet Ibrahim, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, debating with Namrud, the king at that time, and making a dua for revival of death. Other tale is of Aziz, that peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, who was given life back after 100 years of death. Charity and usury. Evidently, giving charity seems like your money will get lesser because you are giving away money to someone else, and then loan is better because you get interest. Usury will make it greater because you are taking an interest over the actual money, but in reality it is the opposite. Allah desecrated usury and causes charitable deeds to prosper. There are four things mentioned in initial part of Surah Al-Imran. Relevance of Surah Baqarah: four tales of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, divinity, debate with Christians, negotiation and compromise, the promises of past prophets. Relevance of Surah Baqarah: both surahs have some relevance, like explaining the truth of Quran and addresses to non-believers. In Surah Baqarah, the address is mostly with Jews, while in Surah Al-Imran, the address is mostly with Ansar, or the local people. Four stories of Allah's divinity are mentioned here. First tale is of Jang-e-Badr, where total number of 313 Muslims defeated an army of 1,000 non-Muslims. Second tale is of finding novel and uncommon fruits in Hazrat or Bibi Maryam's place. Third is of Hazrat Zakaria, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, to be blessed with a child at an old age. And fourth is of Hazrat Isa, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, to be born without a father and start speaking at an early age, then to be raised alive to heaven. Debate and negotiation and compromises. The debate with non-Athens, in which we said to bring your family and we will bring ours to pray from God, and whoever is lying will face the wrath of God. They didn't agree upon it, so we made a compromise for both parties to agree, on which this was accepted. The promise of the past prophets: it was made a covenant with the prophets. When the prophet comes, the last prophet will come, you will obey his sayings and will believe in him, and if he comes after you, your people will have to believe in him. Topics and their interconnections. In Surah 142 to 152, in this portion, practical measures have been prescribed to enable the Muslims to discharge the heavy responsibilities of the hardship that had been entrusted to them for the promulgation of guidance. Salat, fasting, zakat, hajj and jihad have been prescribed for the moral training of the ummah. The believers have been exhorted to obey authority, to be just, to fulfill pledges, to observe treaties and spend wealth, etc. in the way of Allah. Laws, rules, regulations have been laid down for their organization, cohesion and conduct of day-to-day life and for the solution of social, economic, etc., have been prohibited to keep the Ummah safe and from disintegration. In between these, the basic articles of faith have been reiterated at suitable places, for these alone can enable and support one to stick to the guidance. In Ayat 153 to 251, these verses serve as an introduction to the prohibition of lending money on interest. The true conception of Allah's revelation and life after death has been emphasized to keep alive the sense of accountability. The stories of Prophet Abraham, may Allah bless him and grant him peace, and of the one who woke up after sleep of 100 years have been related to show that Allah is all powerful and is able to raise the dead and call them to account. The believers therefore should keep this fact in view and refrain from taking interest on money. In Ayat 252 to 260, the theme of Ayat 153 to 251 has been resumed, and the believers have been exhorted to spend in the way of Allah in order to please Him. In contrast to this, they have been warned against the evils of lending money on interest. Instructions have also been given for the honest conduct of day-to-day business transactions. In Surah 260, in Ayat 261 to 83, the basic articles of the faith have been recapitulated here at the end of Surah, just as they were enunciated at its beginning. Then the Surah ends with a prayer which the Muslim community needed very much at the time when they were encountering untold hardships in the propagation of the guidance. Surah Al-Imran, the period of revelation of Surah Al-Imran. Now, it has the four discourses, in fact. The first discourse is in verse 1 to 32, which was probably revealed soon after the Battle of Badr. The second discourse is in verse 33 to 63, which was revealed at 9 AH on the occasion of the visit of deputation from the Christians of Najjar. The third discourse is in verse 64 to 120. It appears to have been revealed immediately after the first one. Doctrine of Islamic faith, Tawheed, is one of the most important doctrines, is to have complete faith in Islam and to believe in Allah's oneness. Now, in Ayat 163 of Surah Al-Baqarah, your God is one God. There is no God but Him. In Ayat 165, yet there are some who worship after objects besides Allah, bestowing on them the adoration due to Allah, and the love of Allah is stronger in the faithful. Ayat 255, Allah, there is no God but Him, the living, the eternal one. Ayat 270, whenever you spend and whatever woes you make are known to Allah, the evildoers shall have none to help them. In Surah Al-Imran, Ayat number 6, Allah, there is no God but Him, the living, the ever-existent one. There is no God but Him, that is in Ayat number 18 of Surah Al-Imran. Prophethood. The Prophet of Islam is the final and the last prophet in the list of prophets chosen by Allah Subhanahu, and this was a random selection, and he was selected to spread his message. In this manuscript, the references produced are from glorious Quran. It describes special events in the life of the Holy Prophet. In Ayat 285 of Surah Baqarah, the Apostle believes in what has been revealed to him by his Lord, and so do the faithful. They all believe in Allah and His angels, His books, and His apostles. We discriminate against none of His apostles. They say, we hear and obey you, Allah. Grant us your forgiveness, O Lord. To you we shall all return. Now, Ayat 3 of Surah Al-Imran. He has revealed to you the book with the truth, confirming what preceded it, and He has already revealed the Torah and the Gospel. In Ayat 4, Surah Al-Imran. For the guidance of men and the distinction between right and wrong, those that deny Allah's revelation shall be sternly punished. Allah is mighty and capable of punishment. In the other doctrine, that's Qiyamah or Day of Judgment. One of the most important doctrine to have faith is on Qiyamah or Day of Judgment. Now, in Ayat 177, the righteous man is he who believes in Allah and the last day. Then in Surah Al-Imran, Ayat number 10, those who disbelieve, neither their riches nor their children shall in the least save them from Allah. They shall become the fuel of fire. Ayat 77, Surah Al-Imran. Those that sell the covenant of Allah and their own oaths for a party price shall have no share in the world to come. Allah will neither speak to them, nor look at them, nor purify them on the day of judgment or resurrection. There shall be a woeful punishment. Ayat 85 of Surah Al-Imran. In the world to come, he will be one of the lost. Ayat 91. As for those that disbelieve and die unbelievers, no ransom shall be accepted from them, although it be as much gold as would fill the entire earth. They shall be sternly punished, and none shall help them. In third para, or Tilka Rusul, as it has been told before, it has two surahs, Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayat 253 to 86, and Surah Al-Imran, Ayat 1 to 91. And total number of ayat in Tilka Rusul or third para are 125. Now, in Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayat number 253, of these messengers, we have exalted some above others. To some Allah spoke directly, others He raised to a lofty status. We gave Isa, the son of Maryam, clear signs and strengthened him with the Holy Spirit. Had Allah pleased, those who succeeded them would not have fought against one another after the clear signs had been given to them. But they disagreed among themselves. Some had faith and the others had none. Yet, had Allah pleased, they would not have fought against one another. Allah does what He wills. O believers, that's Ayat 254, spend a part of what we have given you before that day arrives when there shall be neither trading nor friendship nor intercession. Truly it is the unbelievers who are the wrongdoers. Ayat 255, Allah, there is no God but Him, the living, the eternal one. Neither slumber nor sleep overtakes Him. His is what He heavens and the earth contain. Who can intercede with Him except by His permission? He knows all about the affairs of men at present and what they have done in future. They can grasp only that part of His knowledge which He wills. His throne is as vast as the heavens and the earth, and the preservation of both does not weary Him. His is the exalted one and immense one. He is the exalted and the immense one. Ayat 256. There shall be no compulsion in religion. True guidance is now distinct from the error. He that renounces the idols and puts his faith in Allah subhanahu shall grasp the firmest handle that will never break. Allah is hearing and all-knowing. Ayat 257. Allah is the supporter of the faithful. He leads them from darkness to the light. As for unbelievers, their supporters are Satans and false gods who lead them from light to darkness. They are the heirs of hell and shall abide in it forever. Ayat 258. Have you not thought of him who argued with Ibrahim about his Lord, because he had bestowed on him the kingdom? Ibrahim said, My Lord is he who has power to give life and to cause death. The king replied, I too can give life and cause death. But then Abraham said, Allah brings up sun from the east, said Abraham. Then you bring it up from the west. The unbeliever was now confounded, and Allah does not guide the evildoers. Him who, even passing by a ruined and desolate city, remarked, "How can Allah give life to this city now that it is dead?" Thereupon Allah caused him to die, and after 100 years brought him back to life. "How long have you stayed away?" asked Allah. "A day," he replied. "Or part of a day?" "No," said Allah. "Surely you have stayed away 100 years. Yet look at your food and drink. They have not rotted. And look at your ass or the donkey. We will make you a sign to mankind. And look at the bones and see how we revive them and clothe them with flesh." And when it is had all become manifest to him, he said, "I know now that Allah has power over all things." And when Abraham said, "Show me, Lord, how you raise the dead," he replied, "Have you no faith in me?" "Yes," said Abraham, "but I wish to reassure my heart." "Take 4 birds," God said, "and draw them to you and cut their bodies to pieces. Scatter them over the mountains. Then call them. They will come swiftly to you. Know that Allah is mighty and wise." Ayat 261. They that give their wealth for the cause of Allah are like a grain of corn, which brings forth 7 ears, each bearing 100 grains. Allah gives abundance to whom He wills. He is magnificent and all-knowing. Ayat 262. Those that spend their wealth for the cause of Allah and do not follow their spending with taunts and insults shall be rewarded by their Lord. They shall have nothing to fear or to regret. Ayat 263. A kind word and forgiveness are better than charity, followed by injury. Allah is self-sufficient and indulgent. Ayat 264. O believers, do not mar your almsgiving with taunts and mischief, making like him who spends his wealth for the sake of ostentation and believes neither in Allah nor in the last day. Such a man is like a smooth rock covered with earth. A shower falls upon that rock and leaves it hard and bare. They shall gain nothing from their works. Allah does not guide the unbelievers. But those that give away their wealth from a desire to please Allah and to reassure their own souls are like a garden. Reassure their own souls are like a garden on a hillside. If a shower falls upon it, it yields up twice its normal crop. And if no rain falls upon it, it is watered by the dew. Allah takes cognizance for all your actions. Would any one of you, being a man well advanced in age with helpless children to support, wish to have a garden of palm trees and all manner of fruits, and watered by running streams, blasted and consumed by a fiery whirlwind? Thus Allah makes plain to you His revelation so that you may give thought. Ayat 267 of Surah Al-Baqarah. O believers, spend of the wealth you have lawfully earned, and of that which we have brought out of the earth for you, not worthless things which you yourself would not or would only reluctantly accept. Know that Allah is self-sufficient and glorious. Ayat 268. Satan or devil threatens you with poverty and orders you to commit what is indecent. But Allah promises you His forgiveness and His bounty. Allah is magnificent and all-knowing. 269 Ayat. He gives wisdom to whom He wills, and he that receives the gift of wisdom is rich indeed. Yet none except men of sense bear this in mind. Ayat 270. Whatever you spend and whatever woes you make are known to Allah. The evildoers shall have none to help them. Ayat 271. To be charitable in public is good, but to give alms to poor in private is better, and will atone for some of your sins. Allah has knowledge of all what you do. Now, Ayat 272. It is not for you to guide them. Allah gives guidance to whom He wills. Whatever wealth you give shall rebound to your own advantage. provided that you give it for the love of Allah. And whatever wealth you give shall be paid back to you in full. You shall not be wronged. Ayat 273. Charities for the poor, who being wholly preoccupied with fighting for the cause of Allah, cannot travel in the land in quest of trading ventures. The ignorant take them for men of wealth on account of their being too proud to beg, but you can recognize them by their look. They never importune men for alms. Whatever alms you give are known to Allah. Ayat 274. Those that give alms by day and by night, in private and in public, shall be rewarded by their Lord. They have nothing to fear or to regret. Ayat 275. Those who take usury shall rise up before Allah like men whom Satan has demented by his touch. For they claim that usury is like trading, but Allah has permitted trading and forbidden usury. He that receives an abomination from his Lord and mends his ways may keep what he has already earned. ज़मीर यूनिवर्सल टेलीविज़न को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें। उसके बाद बेल बटन पे क्लिक करें और अपने कमेंट्स के सेक्शन में अपने कीमती जो ख्यालात का इजहार ज़रूर